Hey yo everyone, good day to all of you. Oh man, this might look a little different than what you remember. Last stream we worked on the exit as you're coming out of the mountain here. We got that all going and everything, and this is the most recently completed encounter. Obviously the out of bounds areas are still all unfinished and everything, but the essential gameplay space here is any encounter design for, as a matter of fact, it's pretty much done. So we're going to be working on the next area over here, which is also going to see some big overhauls and stuff. Currently, it's really, really empty. There's nothing in it, but we're going to do some fun, neat stuff with this little space. All right. So this encounter here in this space is gonna like set the tone for how I want to rescale like all of this game's, or not this game's, this mission's vehicle encounters, because I already gone into in the last stream how I do not like this mission's level design on foot. It is even worse for vehicles. It's like this the scale of the vehicle sections would be considered like the minimum, should be considered like the minimum scale for like an outdoor on foot section, let alone a section where you have vehicles. So I think this entire ghost section in Uprising, I think, is one of the worst parts in the entire game and in the entire series. I really do not like it. It's not fun at all. It's so cramped, it's so linear, you can't do, it doesn't give you anything to work with, and you're facing off against some of the worst enemies in Halo 2 as well, so that's not fun. So why don't we give this a playtest and see how this new scale plays with all the reworked encounter and more room for vehicles and encounter design that doesn't rely on endlessly spawning enemies around corners. That's always good too. Let's open tag test. After we give this a test, we will hop into building the next area that is currently underway. Thank you, Holy Mosi, for the $10.
When I saw the notification for this stream about 30 minutes ago, I was hoping I can get a rapid goon session in, but the great journey awaits. Enjoy some credits, Master,
some things
and thank you for all you've done.
I'm glad you have your priorities straight. So in the scripts, there's mention of this encounter being started off by saving 2 elites that are pinned down, so that's how I decided to start this encounter. I moved that line to here. Well, it usually plays in the cave section, but I thought it would be better fit here. There's a lot of cut dialogue in the cave section already, as it is anyway. Mission where you kill brute squad leaders, the grunts will flip to your side. And yeah. that's that encounter. It feels like that's what this encounter really should have been, but it's a scale was reduced to like, I don't know, 25% of what it should have been. I think that goes for a lot of Halo's used level design actually. If you look at a lot of the early builds of levels, the scale of them is like 3 times of what you see in the vanilla game. Take like the Goldie area in Regret before you get to the last gondola. The work in progress version of that level design is way bigger than what we got in the final game. So it feels like they scaled down a lot of their level design, outdoor level design, because they realized the Xbox is stupid and expensive, and it couldn't handle outdoor environments that were always. Yeah, let's give that another play because that was fun. Might need to turn down the game, yeah. This seems really easy to skip. Well, that's like every Halo vehicle encounter. Jackal Sniper has a few more spawn locations. Uh-oh. Spare ghosts laying around. Allies will move up onto the central island once you've taken out the enemies there. Yeah. So now we're gonna move on to working on this encounter, which is super empty at the moment. It is there's this giant empty field in the no man's land here because I want to do something interesting with this encounter. So this encounter is sort of in vanilla. In fact, I have the vanilla game open right now. We can look at the vanilla level design. This encounter is pretty much built around the idea of you taking a position, you and the enemies all taking positions on higher ground surrounding this sort of more open central vehicle areas. And they were, you know, we see the seeds of that sort of idea, but again, like the level design is like so small that vehicles can barely do anything. But we do have like a looping point here, so we can see what they were going for, and so I want to try to see if I can iterate on this idea and better flesh it out into a more dynamic level design and encounter flow. So what we're going to do is we are going to add a bunch more of these sort of islands dotted all around here to build the encounter around either bobbing and weaving down low with the vehicles, in which there will also be enemy vehicles, including the Spectre, or you can take it on foot and traverse between all of the sort of islands that are twisting around this whole area. And I think that'll also go well with the the beam rifles that the game gives you when you come up here and save this grunt from these jackals. This will make for a very good sniper encounter as well. So there's a lot of different approaches you can take this encounter, and that's what we're gonna sort of go for here. Are you intending to convey the grunt side switching mechanic to players? Because I explicitly spell it out. Here, I'll show you. I do this all through. I don't know how much I've shown this off throughout the H2R, but I do. We have a system for displaying messages when we want to do a really hyper-specific gimmick. And explicitly spell it out to the player and then immediately give them an opportunity to test it out through gameplay. Wait. I think that's waiting on thing. What is the condition? That's a play. Waiting for me to be in a trigger volume. Cut out real quick. There it is. Don't worry about the text being off-center. That's a Mod Tools thing. Why is it not playing sound? Oh, I think because I have HUD sounds muted when the scripts initially start. But yeah. Plays that message, and then you immediately get an opportunity to test it out in gameplay. Might do something special with the HUD whenever you successfully flip a grunt squad. I'll wait and see until the end of the mission how it feels, and I'll look into that. Sort of similar to what I did with the elites, the elite HUD element on Quarantine Zone. Now, that is again, that's another idea that is being iterated upon from something that Bungie had in mind for this mission. You see all throughout Uprising is like all these grunts that are poised to be enemies against you, but you can see that they're actively, like, the intention was they're actively flipping sides to ally with the elites. They just didn't really have any sort of gameplay mechanic to go with that, so all the grunts are just allied to you by default. But that was always the intention with Uprising, is to sort of convey the flip-flopping grunts. Like the two grunts you see at the beginning of the cave section, and then the cowering grunt in the hallway with the ramp. Then these, in the vanilla version of this section, there's two grunts that can spawn with these next to these brutes as well. They will help you once you've killed those two brutes, and that's also what they were going for with the grunt that's cowering against the jackal that's up here in vanilla. We're just making it an actual gameplay mechanic now. So I already got quite a bit of a head start on figuring out the what I want the layout of this whole section to be. So you can see I've already started adding these little intermittent islands everywhere, trying to figure out how they connect, how they should play on foot, how the vehicles should be able to bob and weave through them all, and what kind of unique landmass shapes that I want, all that sort of stuff. So that is what we are figuring out right now. I think I'm going to import this. I haven't imported this at all into game yet because I wanted to keep the light maps to show the previous encounter. But let's import this and then drive around in it to get a feel for the scale. Driving around in it, especially in a Spectre or Shadow, which is possible to bring here. Why I have all these scale models of shadows everywhere to make sure I get the scale of everything correct. So the idea here is we have a bunch of like infantry on these islands, and then we have ghosts and Spectre floating down below like sharks. And yeah, also build the counter around the idea of sitting up here and sniping with the beam rifles that it gives you. Just one of those encounters where there's all sorts of ways it can play out. So yeah, I do want there to be this central line of sight, because you're probably going to come up here. Most players are probably going to come up here first thing to do, because they're sort of funneled up here. And that's what you pretty much do in vanilla. I wanted to keep this sort of central line of sight on the exit of the encounter. So you able to see the exit of the encounter from the start of the encounter. And also you can see the Spectre that comes in. Is going to be a key point of this encounter, and which I really want to encourage the players to be able to hijack and take for themselves, because this mission is at its most fun when you get a Spectre full of elites. We really, really want to make sure players really have the opportunity to do that. We're gonna have the Brute Captain up here as well. Yeah. Okay, so at the moment, this is a complete fucking mess and nothing is connected, so I need to clean this up so this actually imports and works in games. I can actually walk on this surface. The floor here isn't connected to anything, so let's get rid of that. Get rid of that shit. And then we're gonna just connect it. What percentage of level geometry would you say is new on this mission? Well, it depends what you consider new. Some stuff is exactly the same. Like, the indoor sections are exactly the same, but they're like 15% bigger. Like the ramp rooms and the big staircase room. All of the fucking outdoor geometry is completely overhauled on this mission. I am pulling no punches for this one. This is the craziest mission in H2R by far when it comes to level design edits. No other level in H2R will remotely compare to what I'm doing with this mission, just because I dislike the vanilla mission that much. But I thought it still held like a ton of potential. Connecting everything again. Doesn't know how to select things properly. Why is it that material? Oh my god, thank you, Big Pedro, for the $99 super chat. Currently playing Helldivers while I watch the mod grow. You know, game communities come far when their time following the franchise, when mods become more exciting than game releases. You guys are true developers, keep up the great work. I hope I can become one day, in some form. Thank you so much, very generous. I have a feeling when it comes to these later missions in Halo 2, you can really tell that Bungie, like, they had a good grasp on what they could and couldn't get away with in Halo 2 by that point. So if you'll notice, like, levels like Outskirts vehicle sections, Metropolis vehicle sections, even Quarantine Zone to an extent, are way bigger in scale than whatever Uprising is trying to do. But It also has barely any enemies inhabiting those spaces, weirdly. So I feel like they Bungie had to bite the bullet with these last few missions and make them tiny as hell, even in vehicle sections, so they could actually have a decent amount of AI in them without killing the frame rate. You can tell, like, earlier in the early parts of Halo 2, you can tell they were still like, they still had that gleam in their eyes. They wanted to make these big, expansive levels, and then by the end, they're just so like beaten down by the Xbox shitting on them that they have these hallway corridor vehicle sections. Okay, can I please unwrap these UVs to not look like a solid blue color, because that's really, really ugly. There we go. A little better. Alright, is that all connected? There's bound to be some open edges, but at least I have a workable floor now. And let's get that in game. Not going to be able to see anything because the bitmap for the environment is like pitch black without light maps, but we'll make do. $77 open edges. Oof. Check real quick. Oh, Blender was stupid and unwrapped this one. Normal's facing the wrong way. Thank you for that. Cancel that. If 55 open edges is better than 77 open edges. might need to split this BSP in two because this amount of instant geometry when I'm not even like halfway through the vehicle sections yet is crazy. And this is already split off from the starting BSP, starting areas. Some of these have double instance geometry labels. Let me fix that. Find that, replace with that. That's better. Ayo! Why is that all still an open edge? I can't see shit because this level's bitmap freaking sucks. Why is that not connected? Is there anything? Yes, there's a base hiding under here. Alright, no matter. I don't need to really worry about open edges right now. Need to see how it feels. Let's drive around here in a Spectre. Nice. I am feeling good about this scale. It'll feel good to fight other enemy vehicles in if you're coming down here. I do need to make sure it's scaled properly for the shadow though, if you happen to have one. Alright, nice, that works. The shadow makes this the level design here very tricky, just because of the existence of it. It's really easy to see why they cut it from the original mission. Okay, nice. God, I can't see freaking anything. Let me see how this feels to walk on. Well, I'm gonna add some jumping spots. You're able to get up onto each individual island. Oh yeah, Gold Athena reworked the skybox, by the way, so High Charity and what is this called? Substance is visible in the skybox. Because it should be. Forgot about Substance in a lot of Delta Halo skyboxes. Okay. I'm gonna make myself the Master Chief just so I can turn on the flashlight and see what the hell I'm looking at. There we go. Ooh, I'm liking this. It's gonna be fun to fight infantry on. What should I be able... Should I have some way for the player to jump over to this one? I should probably make it so there's a little bit of a lip here so you can just barely make the jump. Yeah, trees to the plateaus. No, everything is going to remain completely barren and flat. This is what the final product will look like. Yeah, of course they will. More flora and fauna than you can imagine. Sniper jackals is still going to be over here. Definitely going to have a grunt squad somewhere, accompanied by brute that you can flip to your side. I should probably add a lip here as well, so you can jump from here to here. There is this little path here that Bungie put into this little island here. They blocked it with the tree, though, where you can really get up here. But I moved the tree a little bit, and it's rescaled, so it's easier to get up here. Also, you can use these rocks as a stepping stone as well. That's what I'm going to do with a lot of the islands here. Yeah, that should probably be the next thing I do. I like this layout. This layout is feeling good. Okay, let me add those aforementioned lips that you can use to jump between them. Whole thing for now. I think that should work well enough. Now here, I already got a little bit of a lip here. Let me pull that out. Oh, and hold this one a little closer as well. I'll re-smooth that out later. And make sure the shadow can still get through here as well. Gonna be a geometry mess, but that'll be smoothed out in time. Okay, let's see if that's jumpable now. Hardcore for ODSTR? Probably, yeah. It'll need a lot of testing though and trialing out. I wouldn't want to fundamentally change how the game plays, though. I should maybe just delete all the instance geometry when I'm trying to test out basic geometry edits like this, because all this instant geometry takes forever to import. Hey there, Crazy Greg Films. What lol dude, what Halo mods other than like SPV3 make ESP changes to the existing missions? Like other than Uncut and SPV3, I guess. I would be curious what other mods do that sort of thing. Very interesting. Yes, I have drank water recently. I have a little can of sparkling water next to me. Rebalances the novel with new punctuation and glossier paper. Ugh. Maybe that's like number 75 on the priority list. I'll get to it someday. Okay. See if I can make that jump. Yeah, here we go. This one. Just barely if I were to crouch jump. Let's make that a little easier. Also make sure the shadow can still fit through here. Yep. This. Just the pad. Okay, that should be enough. I should try doing a blockout encounter of this as soon as I can. Thank you, Just Larm, for the $9. Thanks for all your hard work. Modders like you keep the spirit of these games alive. Truly amazing stuff. P.S. You think anyone will ever tackle making the Cut Halo 2 ending with the art? I would love to see that. It won't be me, but I would love to see that. Yeah, I'll make that look not ugly when the time comes. That time is not today, though. Here in Ugly City. That's well jumpable now. What should the next step be? Probably... Should I smooth things out first so they're not complete, just like polygonal blocks, or should I start thinking about the placement of the instant? Sure. The instance geometry here is going to play a big part in the cover on these islands. Probably the instance geometry, because I'll probably still need to move around and adjust the basic geometry while I'm blocking this out. So yeah, let me figure out where I want like all the essential AI placements and make a rough and dirty block out to figure out what else this encounter space needs before we get to smoothing anything out. Did make this part here very, very tight, so you can't really fit the shadow through here. Sort of intentional, because I'd rather players go around rather than stay on the not being able to stay on the exterior the whole time. Berserker rifle to have a different design from the brute plasma rifle in H2R? Not necessarily. I do still intend to keep them functioning differently between games though, because their roles are different. What mission from Halo 3's campaign are you most excited to work on? Probably the Covenant. Okay, yeah. Let's start adding in some instance geo. I'm gonna start with some trees and use them to frame the central sightline of this area first and foremost. So let me double back here. How big are these trees? Look at all they're angled. Let's use let's start with these trees. These trees are very useful for framing and directing the player's gaze because they're curved like that. Want to have this central sightline of the level be in focus. Kind of want to obscure the captain with trees. That's going to be on all the way on the other side while still having him visible. Once we get like a blockout encounter in, I'll have a much better idea of what other sort of instance geometry or geometry edits I need to do here. Create a sort of archway of trees. Really helps to direct your gaze. Okay, should probably make use of a pine tree somewhere as well. Large. Is there any? Or is it only small and medium? Only small and medium. Grab that. Maybe a small one over here. Probably a pine tree. Right. Pine trees make for good cover, especially. Yeah, that helps with the framing. Grab a medium-sized one. I still want you to have some line of sight on the sniper that's over all the way over here. I put this one. I want to use a large one. I think there makes sense. I'm gonna use a smaller tree over here. Definitely want the canopy to be pretty thick. The last section was more of built around the idea of a clearing. Want to keep line of sight on the Spectre coming in for sure. Being able to see that as it's entering the area is very important. I feel like there should be a tree like right about here. Think about that. Create a tiny bit of an orbiting point for this sort of more open no man's land right there. Yeah, I think it works well. Punctuate that with a rock. That's okay with the shadow. Yep, that works fine. Let me grab a small rock to punctuate that with. I need a small rock. Anyone got a small rock? There's one. probably add a plant next to that into the decoration phase. Offset this a little bit. Alright, nice. That creates a nice little arching shape to direct your gaze toward the central sort of lane of the encounter. Gives this very disparate and dense area something to orbit around. There should probably be a pine tree here because there's going to be infantry here and they need some form of cover both for you and for them. So let me try this pine tree. I need to use the large one. Feels good. What about this half? I feel like there should probably be a tree here, so I think there should probably be like something here to sort of block immediate line of sight toward the enemies at the far side, because if you're coming up here, you're probably coming up here to engage the enemies that are up here. So good. The focus should probably be on them, so let's get a large pine tree out. Stick it over here. Secure that far side dudes a little bit. Nice. Let's get a medium-sized palm tree to line the wall over here. Nope. Can't get in content ID struck. Make this part here a little bit more densely wooded on foot, because it's sort of meant to be a on foot cover area. We pull these rock out a little bit, so cover behind it. Probably we need some form of cover up here, but it's kind of tricky because the shadow's supposed to be up here. Or not supposed to be, but it needs to accommodate the shadow. Probably like a pine tree just on the ground below would work for that purpose. Just something stuck behind. Also gotta figure out how I want to use boulders and rocks here. Well, let's start by pick this one over here. Complement the tree for cover. Probably place another alder over here. And one of these over here acting as a branch. Thanks, Patty, for the resub. That's our 2D artist. Does a lot of modeling as well. Probably use a branch as well. Oriented. I like that. Okay, what else do we need in the way of foliage? I feel like there should be an alder tree right here. Probably need one around in the center here. Oh, probably a pine tree here too. Large one here, and make sure it doesn't put on the central sight line too much. that little tree, creating a nice little archway down this here. Central zone here could be somewhere. Inner line as well. Not sure where though. I feel like right here. That doesn't interest us. I need to move that somewhere else. So that would need to be a large tree. Is a nesting spot here. What missions have you had the most fun tweaking so far? This one has been really, really fun, just because all the experience I have working with Halo 2 by this point. Is a big part of that. Any bad habits you had to unlearn as a mod maker? Or at least are common with beginner mod makers. I feel like a bad habit when you're starting modding is confusing like novelty and like newness of something for like being an improvement over the original game. I think that is a very easy trap to fall into. Thinking something is new and novel, therefore it improves the game. That's something important to sort of unlearn. Although not every mod is out to improve the original game. Some of it is made because of the fun and novelty of it, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Like Cursed Halo, Cursed Halo, for example. There are all sorts of mods that all have their place. What are you all arguing about in chat? Let's not do that. Are we trying to rehabilitate Altheros? Yeah, let's not do that. I wonder if I could do something cheeky. Use this version of the tree branch here. See if I could, because you could walk on these. You could see if I can make it so where it's positioned in a way where you can walk along this really thin little branch here over onto the other platform. The more you can cross between these islands on foot, the better. Oh yeah, you could totally walk on that and jump over to here. That would be funny. Nice. I'm liking how this is coming along. Anywhere else that I feel needs a sprig of foliage? At least as far as the large go. Nice. We have remain to have line of sight on the 2 vanilla islands that are the most important to this encounter. I feel like that's pretty important. Hi, Mindful. Good to see ya. Hack. I saw that. I saw that. Yeah. Probably this island here could probably do with a tree branch sticking out. Need to make sure it doesn't intrude on the sight line. You can still jump through here. I don't think the leaves here for the what do you call the greenery on a pine tree? Stuff here doesn't have collision. I want to say quills, but that doesn't sound right. The pinery. Pine needles? Yeah, that sounds right. Branches are really nice for driving under. I think the shadow might be able to get clipped on the branches, though. Let me double check that. No, it should be fine. Like, just barely. I mean, I could always depress the ground a little bit if I need to. There could be a pine tree there. That corner is looking a little too lonely. Let's all channel our inner Bob Ross. We place as we plant these pine trees in honor of Mother Nature. In fact, there should probably be 2 pine trees there. There should be a pine tree here, too. And a small-sized alder tree. I can find one. Take inspiration from the Covenant in Halo 3? Not really. Just playing into the natural habitat of this area. And then branch. Okay, that should do it for like the main foliage. Let's also figure out some ways to let the player jump up on these islands, like dotted all around them. Well, dude, instance Geo doesn't become part of the BSP mesh, but they are like, they're not exactly in-game objects either. Kind of a weird middle ground. They don't take up any object memory. They're considered part of the BSP, but not the BSP mesh itself. Alright, definitely want a little lip here on this first part that will allow you to jump up. Gonna make use of some boulders and rocks in other places for this purpose as well. Just a basic little gut out like that. Just add some more in other areas as well. Like right here, probably. Okay, and then where else? Right here would probably make sense. It'll make these look not horrendous later. Okay, and where else? Probably be one in the inner sort of circle here if you manage to get yourself stuck in a rock in a hard place. Okay, and then any other ones there should be, I will handle through placing in boulders. Okay, so yeah, let's take care of that now. Like, there are little boulder jumping spots on this island here. Alright, so let's put a boulder to get up over here. Okay, I'm back, sorry. Someone at my door. Need this, the none. Driving space here. That works. Where else? Probably be one in right here. Maybe closer, but really close to the captain. Yeah, right there will work. This one's tall though, I'm gonna need to add a separate color. Let me get the tall spire variant. Like, yeah, this one. Okay, that works. Where else? Probably around this bend here as well. Okay. You be fighting UNSC enemies on any Uprising encounters? Nope, no Marines on this level. We have the misfire stuff, lol dude, but we don't have any animations for them. Halo 2 didn't have animations for them. They could make some. From QZ, are there any additions of world building like radio conversations, skybox elements? Not on Quarantine Zone, but I did do something fun with the radios on Sacred Icon. Else. Extend this to over here. Got enough ways on to next level, I think. Okay. Now for rocks that act as cover. I need quite a few of those on these upper islands. There is a rock back here that I want to. Here it is. Get a small rock with that order as well. If I can find it. Is there a rock there? Is there a rock there? No? Where did I put the small rock that I was using? We're gonna also make use of Covenant crates up here as well. Probably some portable shields as well, since they're nice and thin. Wouldn't take up too much space on these islands. Probably make use of a fallen log here as well. I think I'll grab an unedited one. We're on in the mission. Here we go. So for some variety in the cover views. fuck is the origin point on this thing? Oh, fuck that. Make it a single user. Not dealing with that. Where's an RB? Oh, no, let's bring this in here. Does Incubus not get copyright struck? Not in my experience. Oh my god, these origin points piss me off so much. Why are they like this? Yeah, the mom I threw up pose. Rock up here. A little bit more. Yeah, what did they put up here? They had this rock sticking out a lot higher because of the scale of things. Probably replicate that in some form. Grab the spire rock here, stick it in there. Stick it in there! There we go. Go on this one. Probably something to directly face off with the captain that's here. Make this single user. Alright. That looks good for all of the islands up here. Let's place a couple more rocks down below. Just to line things. Whoa!
Been loving the work. Keep it up. P.S. You better have another Easter egg where 30 elite flood spec ops jump you like in the Moz armory, because that scared the shit out of my ass the first time I played your mod.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you, Mad Moose, for the $20. I appreciate it. I was gonna play twice.
Been loving the work. Keep it up. P.S. You better have another Easter egg where 30 elite flood spec ops jump you like in the Moz armory, because that scared the shit out of my ass the first time I played your mod.
plant is stuck in the geometry. Wow. Probably had a way to get up here from back here without having to go all the way to the wraparound on the front. Get so you can jump onto this branch here. To bevel this at some point. Ugly. I want to make a block out of this now. Place a bunch of just clusters of enemies everywhere and see how it feels. See what other kind of additions or tweaks need to be made. That so it doesn't look as weird for now. Hey, yeah. Very, very dense and clustered, but it doesn't feel aimless either. At least so far. Next, we'll find some places to put some Covenant crates and the portable shields. Yeah. So much instance geo. Geo's outside of the map. Oh no. There's a lot of instance geo out of the map since I rescaled everything. What is this? Object creating duplicate of... What the fuck is this assertion? What do you mean by that, Sapien? Oh, good God. Will that happen again? Well, we won't know because it's going to take ages to load up for no reason. Nice. I have no idea what would have went wrong there. The only thing I can think of to do is to delete instance geo one by one until it successfully imports. That, or we have too much geometry on this map, which I wouldn't be surprised by. I sort and blender by addition. What was the last thing I added? Let me make sure I didn't accidentally put some of the scale models into the frame. They're not supposed to be imported. don't see anything out of place. If they had one more year of Halo 2, they would have easily been able to execute, like, on pretty much most of their vision, I feel like. They built all of Halo 2 in, like, 10 months, 10 or 9 months, so give them another year and they basically would have just made the Halo 2 they wanted all along. It would definitely been higher quality. Although, but then we wouldn't have Halo 3, and honestly, I don't want to live in that timeline. Because there was a lot of stuff that Halo 3 learned from Halo 2 that makes it a better game. Okay, will you like that instead, Sapien? Okay. A random one-off assertion, I guess. Woo! Even with pure black freaking geometry because of the stupid texture, it still looks good. Alright, let's take a drive through it and see how it feels. Nice, see? I like it. I like it. As soon as you enter into the area, it's really hard to see with the stupid texture, but immediately presented with 3 options. To the left, you can go up to there with the turret and the grunt being bullied by a jackal. Go down the middle, hop off on the central platform, or go up on the right where you have this vantage point over the infantry on the platforms. This will make for a very fun encounter. Got the central lane here that the whole encounter revolves around. Nice and smooth drive through. I'm gonna need to light this on at least checkerboard because I cannot work with this horrible black texture. Yeah, this is exactly what I was envisioning. Nice bobbing and weaving between all of the islands. Give it a shadow test as well. A shadow run, if you will. That's the turret. dead. I honestly just want to delete this nice little bit of no man's land in the middle. I know the shadow will appreciate that. Hop around between all the islands. They need to be able to see. If I can make this jump. Yeah, it's hard to see, but I can. Could lower these rocks into the ground some more. Make sure I can climb up on all these. I would love to do Guardian Forest, but I don't know if H3R is going to have that kind of scale. Yeah, you can climb on these little twig branches. Get up there. Restore Cortana's AI so she'd have combat dialogue like any other Marines. I don't know how you would make that work, because it's not like the Chief's biped is not considered an AI, so it can't have combat dialogue. The way that I know of. Sure I can make this jump too. Yeah, nice. We love level design in here. We love level design in this house. We are level designing so hard. I'm gonna level design all over the place. Use this branch to make your way over to here. We are such a ninja. Nice. Okay. Liking this. Alright, let's re-import this again, and then we'll we'll start lining it with like some shields and crates. Let me get rid of this tree here, because I think the vehicles will play better without it. On the GMF. Ass file. Ugh. I don't assert this time, Sapien. I do not like when you're assertive, Sapien. Alright, looking good. If I'm gonna place anything in, I have to light map this on like checkerboard. I cannot see shit. Close MCC ag test. And let's light map this on checkerboard. I'm not sure how long this. Oh wait, I don't think I have the light map call. But... Oh wait, I don't need the light map call if I'm lighting on checkerboard. Lights the entire map in checkerboard anyway. Yeah, I suspect this will be the last like level that calls for a ton of effort and commitment. We're gonna have really cool stuff on High Charity and Great Journey, but it's not gonna be as much of a undertaking as this one is. Any new weapons for this level? No, just the continuation on everything Gravemind introduced. How do you make High Charity a better level? Well, the Warthog run will already go a long way because it's very short and anticlimactic. Might add one or two like little sections, add things out in between. Fighting the Flood in High Charity with the between the Covenant and the Flood is pretty fun. The captains get their custom berserk animations yet? They did indeed. Captains will berserk, but they won't drop their weapons. So they can still fire at you if they can't reach you. What the download size of the model be? Probably a few gigabytes. Unless we are able to find a way to compress it. Hey, that took less than 4 minutes. And wow, I can actually see now! Great. Alright, let's get some crates in here. Let's place the crates where they're about where they're supposed to be in vanilla. So let's get the beam rifle crate here. There's actually this whole path leading down here that you don't really see because it's blocked off by all these crates. There's gonna be the shade turret up here as well. I don't know if it's called the shade turret. I'll just call it the plasma turret, actually. Not very shade-like. What other crates were there? There was a crate over here. I forget what it had in it, though, if anything. I think it had beam rifles. put carbines in this one. So we already have a full beam rifle crate at the start. Having carbine crates in this area would probably be a very good idea, though, nonetheless. The carbine crate up here. The needlers this one. Will you calm the fuck down? Great. We have some carbines. I can just place a carbine on the ground. Let's put a carbine out here. Afraid of brute shots wouldn't be a bad idea either. Since you are facing vehicles down below. Probably should place the crate of brute shots wherever I decide to put the brutes with the on them. Probably I'm gonna put them over here. Where am I? Over here. Probably gonna have jackals over here that come from the over the arch. You've cleared this upper part. Where should I put people? Hey, right here. Oh, I should probably be providing some fuel rod ammo as well in case you're still carrying it and you haven't given it to an ally yet. So yeah, let's get some of that on this island here. And here. Probably have a crate of plasminades available as well. Put one right here. Put one here too. Probably have some weapons available on the low ground as well. Sort of bail you out. Drones have unused Spectre boarding animations? If they have Spectre boarding animations, then it's not unused. They can board a Spectre. They can board the Warthog, so you should be able to board your Spectre even in vanilla. As long as they have those animations and they're able to board vehicles in their style tag, they'll be able to use them. Oh, I think I put an active camo up here when I was first, like, initially doing testing and stuff, so that would be a good idea. That'd be good incentive to come over here. I think I would like to extend this out a little bit. I think a couple of portable shields up here. Had drones on this mission? Yeah, have. There were drones on this mission in vanilla, but there were a couple of cut quad spawns. Probably out of right here. Shackles can cover behind. Ugh, these shitty origin points. You have to know. I need to move this rock. Okay, should probably place some stuff on the ground as well. So let's find a spot somewhere on the ground to put a carbine crate. We'll need a health pack at like either the start or the end of this encounter. Having a brute shot somewhere on the ground as well would probably be a good idea. Let's see, where is the most disadvantageous spot to be on the ground? Counter? Probably somewhere in the middle. One here. Could also add like small tunnels, a couple like small tunnels that only the that vehicles can't fit through here, just for a bit of a lifeline for something for you to duck into if you like fall off and you're surrounded by ghosts and the specter. Probably put some needler ammo over here to compensate that's on the other island. You placed enemy encounters before you redo the geometry or more deal after? Well, yeah. This is still in like a blockout phase. Nothing is made to look pretty just yet. After I get done placing the crates and cover here, we're gonna plop some enemies down and see how it feels to play at a very basic level before we do any real encounter design and scripting and decoration and refinement. Halo 3 has the exact same movement values as 1 and 2. It didn't slow the acceleration down. Nice, I'm liking these sightlines. Need to decide how I want to place the turret and the jackals in the front here. Let's put a health pack on this island. Not a human health. And then we're gonna have another health pack at the end of this section. Also need to place back in the barricade that's right there. Let's see, what else? Was there anything else on this far island? I closed the game so I can't see. May reopen MCC actually. Let's see. There was not another crate up here. I should maybe add one so the captain has something to cover behind. So he has some kind of answer to the beam rifle that you have. In fact, I wonder if it should be this, because it would make sense for this to be up here. That might not be big enough to cover him though. Okay. And I don't think this has allows him to cover behind it. I mean, I could put a crate next to it. I'm gonna have to make this ground flat though, if that's really gonna work. Although I should probably keep this sloped so the captain can look down at the ground below. Fire on any enemies that are down there. Instead, let's move that down further and then move the flat parts up. Flat parts forward a little bit. Alright. That'll reflect next to import. Now, for now, let's just put the calm thing here and then a crate for him to take cover. Now let's put down the barricade that's supposed to be down here. Legendary specific Easter eggs like CER? Yeah, Halo 2's got all that kind of stuff. Now, could we have any sort of fun with the ramp to like literally ramp off of here without like impeding the shadow? Let's see. Fun to mess around with. I probably blocked the shadow too much, but let's see. No, that's not too bad. Put one like some back here, maybe. Fun to do sick tricks off of these. Whee! You gotta get your angle right though, and you gotta not run it over too hard. Dang, you can almost make it up to one of these islands. I wonder if we could play around with that idea. Imagine if you could get the ghost onto the first island up here. Almost. Maybe I have to angle it higher or differently. Oh my god, will you get out of here, debris? You lose too much speed with that angle. No, not quite. Whee! So fun though. I kind of want to leave that there just cause it's fun. Just get style points, you know? At the end of the level, you get ranked for how many cool tricks you did in the Ghost. It's a cool way to enter the encounter in any case. Let's like dot these around the edges, not necessarily like in the middle. They don't contribute anything to the encounter other than just being stupid fun to ramp off of. Sometimes that's what we need. Stupid fun sometimes. Whoa! I should probably make these take like no collision or like very, very little collision damage so they don't rumble as easily from ramping off them. Let's apply collision damage. 5%. It'll probably work. Alright, let's place a couple of shields down on some of the islands. are very helpful because they barely take up any space. Halo 3 Covenant cover pieces by chance? Yeah, Luna imported some of the stuff in there, like the small crate, the barricade. I used the barricade quite a bit in the last section, so we're going to use the portable shields in this one. Just differentiate it a little bit. Might want to have a shield up here as well. Going to be getting fired on by jackals on the nearest island. I could put like a rock here as well, so the jackals can't really engage you until they're on like right here. I think would make sense. Right, different rock. Okay, there. Jackals have to come closer to engage you. These shields are also really good because they pop out like really intensely in the environment. So it gives you a good idea of where all the engagement spots are. It's a really good side effect. With that in mind, it probably makes sense to put a couple of shields up here, since this is the exit of the area, and to make that pop out. And that captain at the other end of the area has some good cover, some longevity from getting immediately sniped. Should probably put a couple of brutes. I think in vanilla there's a single shield jackal with them. Yeah. Nice. This went from completely barren wasteland to actually pretty close to what it's gonna look like in the finalized version in like a single afternoon. Very happy with that. Probably need some form of cover for the players here if they're traveling along here. I probably need to put like a rock. Provide ample cover. Also needs to be make sure that this remains drivable with a ghost down this path. Do I have a ghost scale model? Yes. Nice, that's perfectly. Probably Alright, this is feeling really good. Let's quickly plop some enemies down. Just give it a very quick spin to fight through. Jackals up here. Over here. They're not going to be able to move at all because they don't have a zone set yet. Here. I'm going to have... Should this be a beam rifle jackal or... Yeah, probably a beam rifle jackal accompanied by 2 carbine jackals maybe would make sense. I want to use carbine jackals somewhere. We put one like up here. Jackal sniper here. Carbine jackal here. Or 2. Turret goes here. Oh, no driver. Alright, and then we're going to have either 2 brutes and a bunch of grunts or a captain and a bunch of grunts here. I feel like 2 captains in this area would make sense. Kind of prefer to... We'll just try 2 brutes. 2 brutes and a bunch of grunts. Maybe on higher difficulties this can be a captain. I have like 5 grunts. Alright, all the way over on this hill, we're going to have a captain and 2 brutes. Captain's going to have a brute shot. Give one of these brutes a carbine if I decide not to have the jackal snipers on the adjacent island. Alright, and then there's gonna keep the jackal sniper that spawns back here, as well as another brute squad when you thin out the enemies back here to reinforce this area over here. In which case I should probably put some cover for them around here if I do that. We're gonna stick the Spectre down here. are the driver. You are the gunner. Probably makes sense to have the Spectre ride in with the 2 brute passengers and then have them dismount and hold the exit area while the Spectre continues on. Actually, I'm not able to have a Spectre driver gunner with the way I have this set up. I have the gunner here. Then we're also going to have 2 ghosts. Okay, how many spawn points is that? That's like 26. Alright, let's give that a spin. See how this feels to fight in. I am a freak for Ruby. Ugh. Could be in a ghost coming into here. Snipey fun. Oh, he got out of the gunner and got into the driver's seat. What a square. Okay, I could probably lower that bridge a little bit so you can see the end area a little bit better. I'll have these guys push you when you clear this position here. What the fuck am I shooting at? What was that? Did I spawn 2 turrets here by accident? They were like flipping into each other. I don't understand how the ghosts are able to pathfind without any firing points. The Halo 2 ghost AI is just magical, I guess. Why did it spit me out down here? Why am I down here? Spectre is ours. doing hiding behind here? Alright, I got a very good base to work with for designing this encounter. This will be really fun. Alright, y'all, that'll do it for today's stream. Looky, we basically started with an empty field and we turned it into this. I'm very excited for how the rest of this encounter is going to unfold. Very fun stuff indeed. I suspect the next time I come back next week to stream, probably be on the Brute encampment area, which is also going to see some level design changes. So yeah. Alright, good night everybody. I'll see you all next Sunday.